I want to know you. Lord, I must know you. I want to be found in you. I want to be clothed in your truth. So I fix my eyes on you. Lord, I must see you. I put my faith in you. I spend my life on you. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to know you.
So this series, I'm calling it Being a Follower of Jesus. And today it's Come, Follow Me. Now, when John was a young married man, but not a Christian, some friends took him to an evangelist rally. And on the way home, he said to his friend, I nearly went forward tonight. And the friend said, well, why didn't you? And John's answer was, because I could never live up to that. And the friend replied, well, you don't have to. Jesus will do it with you. And so the next night he went forward and made the decision to follow Jesus. If we're looking at Christianity from the outside, it can be easy to see it as something just too hard, or maybe too restrictive, or maybe something that, well, that's a chore. It'll take away my freedom. And that's because we think that we have to do all this stuff in our own strength. And we know that we're just not up to that. I want to go back to the first disciples of Jesus, because he wasn't the only one who had disciples in those days. In fact, in Galilee, where he spent most of his teaching, there was a real culture of rabbis who had disciples who followed them. And these disciples would spend all day with the rabbi, they would listen to his teaching, they would observe how he lived, and the aim was to become like the rabbi themselves. But it was quite an onerous thing. Every child would have an elementary education, and that was girls as well as boys. And then about age 12, the girls would go back home and they would learn to be good little wives and mothers. The boys would go back home and learn the trade, whether it was fishing or carpentry or olive growing, whatever it was, but the family trade. But some of the brighter ones who were really keen would go on to a secondary education, and there they would be learning about the prophets, and they would learn large sections by heart. They would learn to discuss the issues that were raised and so on. And then the really, really keen and clever ones would seek out a rabbi that they wanted to follow, and they would ask this rabbi if they could become a follower. And the rabbi would say, okay, follow me for a while and I'll observe you and see if I think you're capable. And if they were, then they became a follower of that rabbi. But very few actually made it. Most were rejected. And that was discipleship in the day of Jesus. So how did Jesus go about finding his disciples? Well, he didn't go to the college where the enthusiastic ones were. He didn't go and he choose the brightest ones he could find. In fact, 5 of his followers came from a tiny fishing village, and that was Peter, James, Andrew, John and Philip. A little village of about 8 to 10 families, and they were all fisher people. Just ordinary, everyday people. And in calling them, Jesus turns the notion of discipleship upside down. It wasn't something for the clever ones who sought it out. It was ones who responded to Jesus saying, "You come, follow me, because I know that you can do it." And that's the call to us today. Come with me. His first disciples spent 3 years with Jesus, and they learnt from his teaching, they observed what he did. But when he left them to carry on his work, he didn't leave them alone. He sent the Holy Spirit to empower them. Today, Jesus says, "Come with me. I'll be with you. I'll teach you. I'll strengthen you. I believe in you. Come, follow me."
Come away with me. Come away with me. It's never too late. It's not too late. It's not too late for you. I have a plan for you. I have a plan for you. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be full of me. Open up your heart and let me in. Open up your heart and let me in. Come away with me. Come away with me. It's never too late. It's not too late. It's not too late for you. I have a plan for you. I have a plan for you. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be full of me. I'll open up my heart and let you in. I'll open up my heart